Good morning. Sure. Oh, that was good. We're so grateful to be on this. All of gifted musicians, Mike and Les. Broadcasters here in the area. It's a sleepy Sunday. I think we have a lot of people who are traveling Sunday. Then you have made it a point to join us on Zoom. So I want to say a special hello to everybody who is joining us on Zoom and who whether it's on the road or maybe still under the bed. Understanding. If you rise in body or in spirit. Our tradition is to begin with a statement of honesty about who we are, all what we need, and find forgiveness, renewal, and renewal. Blessed be the Holy Trinity, one God, who journeys with us these 40 days and sustains us with the gift of grace. Amen. Let us acknowledge before God and one another our need for repentance. Holy God, we confess to you our faults and failings, love and neglect us, before the record. Here's the good news. God so loved the world that God gave the only Son so that all may receive life. This promise is for you. I embrace with you with divine mercy. Forgive you in Christ's name, by you, Spirit of God. Amen. Right now is the acceptable time, now is the day of salvation. May the grace of God, who permits our salvation, be with you all. This is the love. Let us praise you, Lord. For the peace of the whole nation, God be and church of God, and for the unity of all, let us praise you, Lord. For this holy house and all that is let us praise us. Prayers will pray and put on us. Gracious life and death for us, bring light into the darkness of our hearts, and anoint us with your spirit. We live and reign with the Father and the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen.
Our first lesson today comes from 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 1 through 13. The Lord said to Samuel, "How long will you grieve over Saul? I have rejected him from being king over Israel. Fill your horn with oil and set out. I will send you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided for myself a king among his sons." Samuel said, "How can I go? If Saul hears of it, he will kill me." And the Lord said, "Take a heifer with you and say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what you shall do. And you shall anoint for me the one whom I named you." Samuel did what the Lord commanded, and came to Bethlehem. The elders of the city came to meet them trembling, and said, "Do you come peaceably?" He said, "Peaceably. I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice." And he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and invited them to the sacrifice. When they came, he looked on Elijah and thought, "Surely the Lord's anointed is now before the Lord." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord does not see as mortals see. They look on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him fast before Samuel. He said, "Neither has the Lord chosen this one." Then Jesse made Shammah pass by, and he said, "Neither has the Lord chosen this one." Jesse made 7 of his sons stand before Samuel, and Samuel said to Jesse, "The Lord has not chosen any of these." Samuel said to Jesse, "Are all your sons here?" And he said, "There remains yet the youngest, but he is keeping the sheep." And Samuel said to Jesse, "Send and bring him, for we will not sit down until he comes here." He sent and brought him in. Now he was white and had beautiful eyes and was handsome. The Lord said, "Rise and anoint him, for this is the one." Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon David on that day forward. Samuel then sent him and went to him. Here ends the verse.
Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be without. It's for all sweet. Oh, so high. My head before you, and I stood in front of you.
Our second lesson today comes from Ephesians chapter 5, verses 8 through 14. Once you were darkness, but now in the Lord you are light. Live as children of light, for the fruit of the light is found in all that is good and right and true. Try to find out what is pleasing to the Lord. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. For it is shameful even to mention what such people do secretly. But everything exposed by the light becomes visible. For everything that becomes visible is light. Therefore it said, "Sleeper, awake, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you." Here ends the second reading.
God comes to us from the land of as Jesus walked along, he saw a man blind and bird. He said, "Ask him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents? He was born blind." Jesus answered, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that God's word might be revealed in him. We must work the works. Him who sent me while the day, night is coming, and no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world." When he had said this, he spat on the ground and made mud with saliva and spread the mud on the man's eyes, saying to him, "Go wash in the pool of Siloam," which means sent. Then he went and washed and came back able to see. Neighbors and those who had seen him before at the beggar began to ask, "Is this not the man who used to sit and beg?" Some were saying, "It is he." Others were saying no, but someone like him. He kept saying, I am the man. They kept asking him, then what were your eyes open? He answered, the man called Jesus made mud, spread it on my eyes, and said to me, go to Siloam and wash. And I went and washed and received my sight. They said to him, where is he? He said, I do not know. They brought him to the Pharisees, a man who had formerly been blind. Now it was a Sabbath day when Jesus made the mud and opened his eyes. And the Pharisees also began to ask him how he had received his sight. He said to them, you put mud on my eyes, then I washed it, and my eyes. Some of the Pharisees said, this man is not from God, for he does not observe the Sabbath. Others said, how can a man who is a sinner perform such signs? They were divided. So they said again to the blind man, what do you say about him? It was your eyes he opened. He said, he is a prophet. The Jews did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they called the parents of the man who had received his sight and asked them, is this your son, who you say was born blind? How then does he now see? His parents answered, we know that this is our son, and that he was born blind, but we do not know how it is that he now sees, nor do we know who opened his eyes. Ask him, he is of age. He will speak for himself. His parents said that because they were afraid of the Jews, for the Jews had already agreed that anyone who confessed Jesus to be the Messiah would be put out of the synagogue. His parents said, he is of age, ask him. So for the second time, they called the man who had been blind, and they said to him, give glory to God. We know that this man is a sinner. He answered, I do not know whether he is a sinner. One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see. They said to him, what did he do to you? How did he open your eyes? He answered them, I have told you already that you would not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples? Then they reviled him, saying, you are his disciple, but we are disciples of Moses. We know that God has spoken to Moses. As for this man, we do not know where he comes from. The man answered, here is the astonishing thing. You do not know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but he does listen to the one who worships him and obeys his will. Never since the world began has it been heard that anyone opens his eyes to a person born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing. They answered him, you were born entirely in sins, and now are you trying to teach us? And they drove him out. Jesus heard that they had driven him out, and when he found him, he said, do you believe in the Son of Man? He answered, and who is he, sir? Tell me so that I may believe in him. Said to him, you have seen, and the one speaking with you is he. He said, Lord, I believe. And he worshipped him. Jesus said, I came into this world for judgment, so that those who do not see may see. Those who see may become blind. Some of the Pharisees near him heard this and said to him, surely we are not blind, are we? Jesus said to them, if you were blind, you would not have sinned. If you say we see, your sin remains. This is the gospel of our Lord. Praise the Lord. We invite our children forward. Thanks everyone for sticking. Like the longest gospel passage in the secondary, by the way. But it's a big, long, very interesting passage. Oh, I'm so happy to do that. It's going to be we had a fun activity downstairs this morning about not being able to see. We're going to continue that this morning. But I don't have my lines up here, so I'm gonna have to count on each one of you to be trusted. And close your eyes and do not lose them. Okay. Then we start one of these first. Then I want you to close your eyes and come in here and smell one of these bottles. These are wonderful gifts from close your eyes first and come in and smell. Let's do this one right here. Okay, smell that. Back up. I want you to guess what color was the flower that you just smelled. What do you guess? What color? It was blue. Okay, let's go next. Okay, you're doing. You gotta close your eyes. Okay, you gotta close your eyes. Close them real tight. Real tight. Smell. Okay. Now don't open your eyes. What color are you smelling? No, the second part. But there's no. I mean, smell. Unless you really, really know how to smell. That is the gift from Joe. We had a funeral yesterday for Nancy. I love it under this congregation. So can I get you to close your eyes? Okay, close your eyes. You cheated downstairs, so I don't. Close your eyes. No. Okay. What color? No, purple. See? We David passage is about Jesus. He laid a man born blind. One of them, close your eyes now. Smell. No. What color are you? Having so beautiful flowers that have touched them to be able to see. And yes, for colors, all things are amazing. Yes. You got to yes, you'll be watering these. Make sure that they last a long time. But we'll be able to make that miraculous thing happen. But you know, here's even more powerful than when you see for the first time. No, that's the one able to do that and able to heal us absolutely everything, including anything complete that. Isn't that amazing? Okay, let's stop messing with my thought here. Okay, we're gonna sing for a song together. Have fun. Lord, the meditations of my heart, the words of my mouth, be acceptable to you, Lord, my rock. If you have spent any length of time with me, you have likely, about 50% of you out there, you have likely gone to battle with me against some institution. Yeah, a number of you have. It's the amazing thing. I did not know that I was going to do so much in my career, but we have gone to courts together. We have fought against concentrated conclusions that claim to do one thing and then do another. We have employed lawyers, ombudsmen. We have talked with administrators. We have direct case workers together. We've done a lot. And I've been privileged to be your pastor. That is not what people generally think I do for a living. Okay. Generally speaking, people are like believers for an hour on Sunday. I know that. And he has to do one evening of a month. And everything else is kind of mystical. But it's really interesting how much that needs to happen. And our gospel passage today reveals it. So ask yourself this big main question. For what reason did Jesus come? It's like the big question of Christianity, right? For what reason did Jesus come? And not just come, but came, fought, healed, left, died, suffered, resurrected. All of those things, the mission of Christ. What is the mission of Christ? You know, okay, that sounds like what is the mission of Christ? You know people. Offer pathways to forgiveness, to restore people to right relation. All of these things are absolutely essential. to confront the institution. Isn't that powerful? Right alongside all of the other things that we know, and we can securely say, yes, I came for this, to free the sinners and to release the captive and to have a chat with the institution. Very powerful reason for the incarnation. Completely surprises me. Well, our gospel path goes long. There's a lot in there, and I want to go over all those parts. That would be the concluding one that I want to talk about. But we see some other reasons for Jesus to thrive in this very long gospel path. Three, where to go. Number one, problem of need. It is said that this blind man must have some sort of sin. Right? There's got to, everyone's seen the ask. The disciples are asking, the Pharisees are kind of also and this, there's got to be some root for why this person is suffering. And Jesus gives a really surprising answer to that. He will not assign sin. He is not ready to point a finger in an accusatory manner at anybody in this, which is kind of a relief. What does it make sense? I don't know that there is a pathway to forgiveness. But sometimes it's harder, and that's all there is to say about it. You can't point back to who or what, how he came to be this way. It's just living in a broken world, and he recognizes that. In fact, what's more, I think the powerful way to put this is to say that this is a question of purpose. Sin was seen to be the agent of purpose, and they were trying to find where that could be placed. And Jesus refuses to assign any purpose at all to what happened. It was just meaningless, random, chaotic, and random. What Jesus said is, now I will assign purpose. This is the power of Christ. Is that he says there formerly was no reason for our suffering. Sufferings happened, and they were cruel and capricious. With the cross of Christ, with Jesus identifying with us in these sufferings, they take on meaning. That is the most powerful thing that can happen from our sufferings, where they once were meaningless, now they have taken on meaning. So that's purpose number one, to address the problem of evil, to give us some companionship in our struggles with it. Purpose number two, we see here, is to create disciples. All over this passage, there are disciples, there are people who are being cast out and paying the price for being disciples, and there are accusations of discipleship. And there are people who are saying, I'm a disciple of Moses, and people are saying, I'm a disciple of Christ. Later in the epistles, we'll see how Paul said, you got to be both. Right? That being a disciple of Moses, understanding that this is the same God. This is the God who we heard about all the way back from the Sinai. This is the fulfillment of the messianic promise through David. We're talking about one continuity. But the question is, discipleship, who are you serving? And who's in control? And discipleship comes with a cost. You know, this is something that John offered in fact, right? Called the cost of discipleship. He is a very famous person in Nazi Germany who is a Lutheran preacher who stands up to Hitler and who, in opposing him, loses his life. He paid that cost. And according to his calculation, John is supported. It's always becoming a disciple of Christ is where we find, back to say number one, the answer to our suffering. We find how they take on significance and meaning. We find our pathways to liberation, healing, and wholeness. Even if the world threatens us deeply, even if we are threatened, just as the early disciples are, with being cast out, with being discarded or done away with, we must know that it is far more worth it to become disciples. And I will be honest with you all, there is that cost, there is a price, there is something that is also our duty. This man born blind, upon receiving his sight, becomes an agent for Christ. In fact, it is really interesting how Jesus, for the vast majority of this, that's it. He heals at the beginning, he shows up again at the end, but for the majority of it, this man born blind, his family, and those surrounding him are left to be the mouthpiece of God. They are left to tell the story of what happened to them, to others. Sometimes in a hostile environment, a very hostile environment, where they are being examined, where their character is brought into question. It's something familiar to you. Maybe you have trod those pathways as well and know how difficult it is to stand up for what you believe in, right? Under that level of scrutiny. But you should know that Christ is there with you, and you have found yourself on a pathway that all the good ones have been on. And that's what the fellowship that we celebrate on Sunday is for, is to share our story, our travails, to take some part, to support one another, and to confirm that this is indeed what we need to do. Now, thing three is institution part. This is such a beautiful path because of the inversion of blindness. The man born blind, individual born blind, receives physical sight and also kind of spiritual sight. Okay, is able to recognize who Christ is in the grand scheme of things. To recognize that he is the Son of Man, he is part of his messianic promise, where the blind have their sight revealed and the prisoners will go free, as Isaiah proclaims. He comes to understand and see a whole lot. And those who are born in physical sight, this pharisaical institution, which is a determinant of how religion is done in the nation of Israel, while they see quite well, they reading the scrolls out loud, they're reading the scriptures, they're reading all the time, and they can see based on the still blind. Now, humans have enormous capacity to be self-defeating and to ignore other things and to choose to selectively hear and see and witness. But something magnifies that when we get together in groups. You know what I mean? When we don't just let our own blindness be our own blindness, when we self-reinforce it by surrounding ourselves with others and codifying it and putting it into practice and building up edifice, institutions around them. So very soon, we look at the thing that we built, oftentimes for a good purpose, and see that it is a binding force. That it has somehow transgressed from what we began with and instead turned into a blindness enabling. This happens all the time. It can happen to things, institutions as large as governments. We've seen that in order to constructed will of the people, the protection of the people, for the good of all, turns into something authoritarian, something deeply corrupting the human spirit. And with seeing evil in that dimension. How can we contend with knowing that evil does not only exist in the world, but it is meaningless, it is organized, that it has found a way to surround itself with so much and has pulls people in. It refuses the call to repentance so quite often. How can we deal with that evil knowing that that's in the world? The answer is no, not surprising. We deal with it by knowing that Christ came into the world with one of his express missions being to confront that kind of institutionalized evil. We just had a funeral yesterday that had a whole bunch of people from our Jewish community, and you know how much I love working with the Jewish community. One of the things we oftentimes recognize is that the Pharisaical organization and second Judaism go on. Rabbinical Judaism and Christianity are the outgrowth, fact, That institution was destroyed. It's gone forever. The people we talk about the inheritance of the Bible, they're not around. There's no analog for that. And ultimately, what seemed to be something that would last forever, what seemed to be an institution that had full strength on how people understood God, faith and was no longer necessary. And I have to think that Jesus was the part of who was in his home. It was a deliverance. We know something about confronting institutions. Luther, the Bible is saying this would be a very violence in confronting the abuse of power of the Catholic Church in my day. Well, he did so knowing that Christ would be present in that world, that Jesus came with the express intent and mission, gathering the Jews. And for us today, when we are led forth on those paths, and your pastor is blessed and honored to accompany you as you go to those places, we should know that Christ will be present and journeys with us. All of these things are the promises that we receive from him. They're good news. To them we say. Now together with the whole church and every congregation, word of the apostle. I believe in the Lord God, creator of heaven. I believe in Jesus Christ. In the Holy Spirit.
Sustained by God's abundant mercy, let us pray for the church, the world, and all of creation. Eternal God, you seal us by the Holy Spirit and mark us with the cross of Christ forever in baptism. Inspire us by your love as together we strive for justice and peace in all the earth. Merciful God, creating God, by your word you have made all things, and you hate nothing you have made. Teach us to perceive the beauty of the breadth of your creation, from the grandest mountain range to the smallest springtime bud. Merciful God, powerful God, you anoint kings and establish rulers. Guide the life of heads of state and elected officials. Encourage them to lead with justice and to remove barriers that impede the well-being of all. Merciful God, shepherd God, you lead us beside still waters and restore our souls. Keep watch over those who weep, tend all who are sick, and comfort those who grieve, especially friends and family on our homes. Merciful God, God, our host, you fill us at your table with more than we could ever ask. Feed us with hunger for justice. Equip the feeding ministries of this congregation and community. Nourish us so that we can nourish our neighbors. Merciful God, please be our friend.
Brothers and sisters, you will do this. Pray for all those who grieve and mourn here on Saturday at the Lent in Smith. Prayer for the Gleason family. Prayer for the Lee.
God of history, with thanksgiving we remember our ancestors in faith who cared for your people. We praise you for the ways they formed the faith of others and continue to inspire us. Merciful God, We lift our prayers to you, O God, trusting in your steadfast love and your promise to renew your whole creation. Through Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Jesus Christ, who always. Peace, everybody, running out.
Right. Put that out. Father, we give you and all. Thank you for your God. There are parts of the human spirit, and before our very presence, we find Jesus, the love of eternal life. It is the Christ of the that we should at all times and all places give thanks and praise to you. Almighty and merciful God, through our Savior Jesus Christ. All your people to cleanse their hearts and prepare for the hands peace, that we do faith of the Baptist, we may come to the fullness of God. In all of the hearts and church other thankful. We praise your name to the Next, which was the prayer of Lord Jesus. Pray, give thanks, give it to the disciples, and said, take and eat my body given for you, do this for the remembrance of me. Again, after supper, he took the cup. And after he gave thanks, he gave it to them and drink, saying, this cup is the new covenant in my blood, shed for you and for all people for the forgiveness of sins. Do this for the remembrance of me.
Gather this one time over here, and pray as Jesus taught us. Our Father is in heaven, this way. I think that we'll invite you forward to receive anything you need. Now, gluten free wafer, we have a better color grape juice and a better color wine. And you can just do a blessing at time as well. Don't visit the open table where all people are invited. You partake in the body and blood of Christ. Come and receive Jesus, our strength and glories. Okay, before we go further here, announcements, who'd like to go first? You got it. I couldn't hear that because you muffled your voice. But you want to think about it, come back to? Are there other announcements to go first? Yes, the annual meeting announcement. This following week is the annual meeting. Please be here. It's been posted, and hopefully you'll know when it's coming up. But it is after church next Sunday. We have a lot of important things about in there, and one of them is discussing a new fire. Something we'll be sharing with other churches to do some youth development. So if that's interesting to you, and if you've been reading my emails and want to know more, we'll be talking deeper to anybody else about what that might mean for your next week as well. Yes, out there. Other announcements?
So 2 weeks from now is homecoming, so next week is the annual meeting and the week after is homecoming. So, on Sunday, we will have the Sunday brunch, so be on the lookout for signups for that, and then following the brunch, we have the Easter egg hunt for kids, so, make sure you bring a basket, collect all the eggs, and there are lots of eggs, so if you're bringing nice baskets, you can bring all the eggs, so.
Probably extend that. Coming up this week, we have the continuation of our Lenten series. It's on Wednesdays at 7:00. In the age of the machine. It's been super interesting and really fun. Hope you guys get a chance to participate. It's here at Clifton this week, up in the library at 7:00. We share communion first. And then we have some discussion on what it means to be a follower of Christ, what it means to be a believer in this mechanistic, algorithmic, very interesting world that we're living in. It's technological world, which is changing us on the inside, but it's changing the world out there. This has been very, very fun. I really encourage you. We've only got 2 seconds left. You don't need to go visit one supporter. Please come. It's a lot of fun. It's on Zoom if you can't make it up at night as well. And the link is posted every week. And just lastly, a thank you for everyone who participated in that for the past week. 50 quick advantage of welcome and everybody who's joining us from Afghanistan, Ukraine, Haiti. And those bags make people feel very happy there as refugees, as people taking a biblical journey here. So thank you for doing that. The next thing, the math project will be here at Clifton, but you will be here for us. We're doing a little bit of food therapy. So Ukrainian women have come to this country, need a kitchen. And one of the ways that they heal by cooking, by baking. And so they're going to be invited 2 weeks, I guess it could be Thursday, 2 Thursdays out to just come here, speak Ukrainian, make Ukrainian dishes. And know if you read about it in the papers, that's happening here, and be a good ambassador for it. That is our announcements. Give God blessing. God, the giver of love, Christ, the resurrection and the life, and the Holy Spirit of labor, bless you in this Lenten journey.
Brenda?